Hello, welcome everybody. In this first session, we want to bring you a story about the low-code, no-code platform, how the Return to Work app can help you in returning to work after this COVID second wave. This is for the introduction. After that, we have in chapter 1 the challenges in the market with a guest that you will discover, why low-code, no-code is important for your business, where it can solve issues. After that, we will have chapter 2 for just 5 minutes, where we talk about application modernization when you have very, very old applications that you want to renew, and also show you a few customer stories. After that, we jump into chapter 3, this app that can help you to reopen your facilities and to ensure that everybody is safe. And there will be a demo of this application. After that, we will have a live question and answer session. And then we will have in chapter 4 a demo how to build the application that we showcase in chapter 3. Also think about either subscribing to the channel or reaching out to us on LinkedIn because we want to make other sessions, and we really need to know what you liked, what you didn't like, and give us your ideas on how to improve, because we really want to make something special for you. Okay, so now let's jump in this first chapter with guests and specialists of Microsoft who will explain what they feel in the market, why low-code, no-code is important.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining. My name is Walid Masroor. I'm based in Geneva and I'm a business application specialist working at Microsoft.
And Adam Aguirre, myself, I'm a solution specialist based also in Geneva and managing some big customer in Romandie.
So my name is Marie-Philippe Van Ems. I'm the founder of I Love OPEX, my practice, and I've been 18 years in industry and 15 years in business transformation.
So Marie-Philippe, really happy to have you with us today. What we wish today is to hear about you from your customers, what you are doing, what is doing your company, and what are the feedbacks you are receiving from the customer and the specific needs they have.
So what we see today, we work in business transformation. So what is important is people, the purpose, and the process. And what we see here with what we discuss later on, I think is more on the people side and the process. We have a huge wave of digitalization coming out, and actually 69% of the industry wants to invest drastically in automation for the next 3 years. We even have seen that we predict to have 500 million apps in the next 5 years, which is huge. So how do we handle that? Because the difficulties that I see today with our company is that we have a multiplication of apps, that it's super difficult to integrate. That's usually the IT, which is centralized. They don't have the time to be so fast and agile and efficient actually to make it happen. And today we need to be agile. So you were asking me about concrete example. I have ones because today now we hire people and they're at home. So how do you do the onboarding process? How can you make sure that you develop, you're close to them, you develop their competencies? And following that is quite tough. So people need to have this speed and agility today. And I would like to hear from you, what's your proposal? Because I know that you have this coming up and I would love to hear more about what it is.
So low-code, no-code platform, basically, without talking technically, is really the way to create applications without any code like before, or with a very low code, so for an application. And basically it's working because there is a ready-to-use solutions with a lot of pre-built solutions, and it's very easy to deploy, to create, and in the respect of compliance, ideally.
And is it connected to, for instance, because I see a lot of my customers are using Power BI, for instance. Is it all connected?
It's connected, and basically the aim of this type of applications, there is many editors are trying to do and to answer to these challenges. It should be used as it's easy to create your own PowerPoint, for example, or Excel spreadsheet. It's so really like that, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So let's talk a bit about the challenges, Adam.
Yeah, the challenges, what we saw from the companies in the couple of last years, it's really the challenges around the budget constraint, the time and resources constraint. There is a lack of developers in the companies. The business expectations is also the, let's say, the link or the gap you have between sometimes the business that is really talking business words and the technical teams. It could be the internal IT or also the partners. So they have also complex processes to manage, complex requests coming from the business, and there is this time to market question. So the solution from our side, Microsoft, is we developed a solution called Power Platform. It's a mix of several solutions to answer clearly to these challenges with some benefits. So first, to increase development agility. Secondly, to support all speed and savings for the company. Third thing is efficiency. And we can add security and compliance. That is very important. I mean, doing fast is not doing bad.
So when we say platform, that's a word that means many things, and a lot of companies use the word platform. What is in this platform? What is this platform about?
In fact, you can see our solution that is called Power Platform, a combination of several apps. And the challenge is here really the future of the application. You know how we were doing the applications in the last decades. It's now completely new. So you want to be able to create web applications, mobile applications. You want to have also gain your insights or reporting data for the management of your users, and to have an enterprise-grade solution in terms of security and compliance. And for that, we have, let's say, 4 solutions for doing that. So the first one is Power BI. So Power BI is really to manage your business analytics. We have Power Apps, so it's a complete environment to create applications easily, without code or with small additional codes. We have Power Automate, so it's everything related to connect your data with the RPA, robot process automation, or to do your workflow very easily. Like, for example, I received an email, I study the content of the email, and I send an automatic answer. Could be just to fulfill my Excel spreadsheet, or to send another email, or to put an emergency. That is very interesting. And we added a couple of months ago Power Filter Agent, so you can create very easily in a couple of really hours your own chatbot with intelligence.
And that's for the IT people, that's for the businesses, that's for the business analysts. Who's working with this platform?
And this is the magic of the thing, is you can have different way of addressing that. It's like, if you want to compare, I like this image, it's like Excel. You can start very easily to create your Excel with simple form with simple formulas. So easily, everybody are doing that. Or you can go on till create your own code, for example, to manage complex things. So it's exactly the same approach for Power Platform. You can start very easily, creating a form, few fields, connect, and for example, having your data in your local Excel spreadsheet. Or you can also create more complex application, connect to another external solution. We have more than 300 connectors. You can connect your SAP, you can connect your Adobe solution, for example, if you have Magento or something like that. And you can also create some data-driven app, so much complex, with a data model, but really a complete solution.
And is the data secure? Does it sit on my laptop? How does that work? Is it only for me, or is it for me and other people in my company?
No, it's a good question, Walid. No, it's sitting on Microsoft Cloud. We have 3 clouds, basically. Azure, for everything related to applications. We have Office 365, the productivity solution for a lot of customers. And we have Dynamics, where it's sitting, with Power Platform, all the data. So you will enjoy all the security coming with the Microsoft platform. You know that Microsoft is investing $1 billion per year in security.
Wow. What about Switzerland? We're here, we're in Lausanne. What's the situation with Switzerland?
Yeah, we are here in Lausanne, and between us, we have 2 big data centers, one in Geneva area, one in Zurich. So Microsoft invested a lot to secure the data also, and in the respect of the compliance for some of the customers needed that. For example, banking, insurances, and some public sector are very happy to have the data in Switzerland.
Hello again. So thank you very much for listening to this first part. Feel free to ask questions. And now I will try to bring in my colleagues. All right. So normally you must see us three, Adam and Marie-Philippe. So say hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this first Digital Cappuccino. I hope that you enjoyed this first part. Let's say it was an introduction to talk about low-code, no-code. So showing how this kind of new solutions help you to create business application very easily, and that will try to answer to your business challenges. If you have questions, of course, please use the chat to ask all your questions. We will try to answer during the Q&A live session at the end of the presentations, and we will keep the contact, I hope, with some of you.
Thank you. So I check back with you in 5 minutes. That's it. So in 5 minutes, so during 5 minutes, we will see this part now about application modernization and a few customer series. I hope you will enjoy it. So see you soon. Let's start chapter 2.
So what about the old application? Do we have also solution for them, or do we have to still use them?
Yeah, Marie-Philippe, modernization and adding some new things on applications is very important for change management, for user adoption. Absolutely. And we have more and more millennials in the company. So I think that don't want to use a very old application with an old interface. So what you can do for that is to use Power Automate. And you can connect Power Automate with, for example, a very old HR system. And what we have done in Microsoft a couple of years ago is we connected our HR system to a PowerApp application for managing our holidays. So instead of having an old web form in a site, we are able now from our mobile with PowerApps to connect to our HR system, but with a modern application, very easy to use with a modern interface. And it's exactly one thing that also is reached by using Power Platform. You can modernize, you don't have to replace all your legacy systems. You can connect, add layers, and enjoy new capabilities like AI. It's very easy now to use, for example, cognitive services in your application for doing face recognitions, for example, in a couple of clicks on your Power Platform connected to your whole system.
And do you have like example of, I guess it's not new, you have customer using it today. So do you have some example and concrete?
In fact, we are in all industries. So Power Platform could be used for all industries. So it could be public sector, education, non-profit, manufacturing, banking, insurance. So everybody is potential users of Power Platform. So in Switzerland, all our customers mainly are using or are going to use probably Power Platform. Why? Because in fact, it's natively integrated with Office 365, for example. So if you are a user of Office 365, you can easily deploy and develop and customize a Power Platform, Power Apps application connected to our SharePoint, connected to our Outlook, connected to our Office solution. So the gap, to create this application is basically non-existing. It's very easy. And we have also some customers like Red Cross using, yeah, absolutely. We're very happy to have non-profit as users.
So my name's Nick Gill. I work for the American Red Cross, and I'm a training specialist. I've been with the organization for about 10 years. So at the American Red Cross, we're still at the early stages. We've got people like myself who are really more of the citizen developers, who are solving more of the end user typical business cases. We've really started from the ground up approach, and we're using Power BI, for example, for things like our disaster dashboard reportings. We're using Microsoft Flow to be able to automate data between some of our different data sources. With PowerApps, it's more of the business users that, like myself, that are creating solutions to solve everyday problems that would have been more paperwork. And so now what I think is really neat about what we're doing is that we're primarily a volunteer-led workforce. And we now have a lot of volunteers who they're making it their volunteer job to help create solutions to business problems. Now we have volunteers who are across the country having regular Skype meetings and now working for a few hours a week on creating Power Apps that are completely revolutionizing the way that we would be able to deploy, that we would be able to mobilize our volunteers after they arrive at an airport for a disaster setting. As a result of the Power Platform, we're able to create our own solutions instead of needing to worry about how we could afford to pay for larger scale pre-built ones.
We have also some examples in banking, like Metrobank, using applications like knowing your customers. I mean, instead of being in front of your customer with an old PC or something like that, I mean, cutting the relationship between you and the customer, you can just be with a tablet because you have a very easy application done with PowerApps connected to your CRM, and then you can discuss concretely on what is interesting for your customer. We have also the capability to help customers like PepsiCo.
So we were trying to do a lot more with mobile, but we didn't have any professional developers on staff in order to do that. When we saw PowerApps, it just felt like a no-brainer for us. We fell in love with it. We were working with it even before it went to general availability. When Microsoft did launch PowerApps in GA or general availability, we went live with our first application.
So Eric has never really done a lot of app development around here or any real programming development for us. Most of his work has been in the cloud space. So when he took over at PowerApps, it was really a new beginning for him to start programming apps for G&J. So it was unique to see how quickly he went from almost zero programming skills to developing a full app and rolling that out in literally 3 to 4 months.
So we developed an app that allows the warehouse to mark where each truck is parked. In the morning, the driver simply opens his phone, checks his email, and it tells him exactly where his truck is parked.
How long does it take to develop an app like that?
I mean, literally, it's a question of hours. It's very basic. You can really create an application like that in a couple of hours.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. And then the reflection starts.
So as you can see, Power Apps can be used not only in times of COVID or not only to replace basic applications, but also to kind of extend the coverage of applications that you have internally to support your business needs. So here I see that there is a good question from DS Ferns. Thank you very much. So the question is, how does the no-code compare to the old way of using macros in Excel? Can we replace macros? So what I have to say about that is it's kind of macros are thought as a way to code, right? And you will actually find the same kind of place to put your code in Power Apps as well. So you can also automate parts, but it goes much further. So let's hear what Adam and Marie-Philippe have to say about it.
Yeah, thank you, Raphael. From the side where you have used some macros to create some application inside of Excel, this is where there is a case to use a Power Apps instead of. You will have more state-of-art application mixing a good interface, a control on your data and your interface, and also you can, as said Raphael, use your data and enjoy some code capabilities inside your data. So really, we are talking not about replacing some macros that are formulas, etc. in Excel, that remains, but really replacing those people that are using Excel as an application itself. Then you can share it, manage it, and also the application lifecycle management that is very important in this case, you will be able to manage it as well.
Mm-hmm. And the management is quite nice because you have these drag and drop possibilities as an interface. And I don't think you have so much in Excel. And this is much easier to build up your app.
Yeah, and with much more advanced capabilities regarding to correct architecture, like you will have all these interactions with your database that are transactional certainly. You will have cross collaboration between people happening in a very secure way. So it's all these advantages compared to this Excel file that could get corrupted, that has to be shared in a shared drive. So it's a lot of advantages.
And it was a very good question because Excel was answering to this need of being able to build very easily like an application with some forms, with some formulas, with a tool that as a business, for example, owner, I can manage. And it's exactly one of the answers we can provide with the Power Platform.
Okay, so now we will transition to the chapter 3 to see this return to work application. There will be comments also about how you can use it yourself for your company, whether it's free or not. And you will see it also in action. And you will see at the end a demo of an application that was custom built by our TS colleague, technical specialist, colleague, to scan a QR code. So now let me just start this one. There. See you in 8 minutes.
COVID is not a unique issue, it's an issue for everybody. And Microsoft has developed a set of applications ready to use out of the box, you deploy and you implement.
What are these applications? So give me an example if I'm a leader or myself, can I be safe going back to work? That's also one of the big questions.
The main principle of this is to allow employees and managers to return to work with confidence. The point of these applications is to allow executive leaders to have access to information in terms of what offices are open, what's the capacity, how many people are where, and what's the situation like on a click, real time. Health and safety leaders need to know exactly what to do to follow the checklists. If you're a small company with 50 employees, you may have a problem with one employee having COVID. How do you inform the others in a secure way, in a GDPR compliant way? Or if you're a large company with 200, 300 facilities, how do you manage that you get all the facilities to open properly in a similar way with the right checklists and with the right procedure? And that's where Microsoft comes in. We've developed a pre-built, customizable, trusted set of apps.
So you have been using
for
it already?
Ourselves.
Okay.
Exactly. So me as an employee, I wake up in the morning and I want to go to the office today. I go on my PowerApp and I fill in the attestation saying that I have no symptoms, I don't have fever, I can go to the office. I get a unique customer ID. The executive leader knows that employee +1 entered the office. If I do contract COVID, there is a procedure that the facility manager will follow to manage my case. He will be able to through automation, through Power Automate, to inform every other employee that was in the office today without revealing my identity. So let me go a bit into detail. This app set is ready. It's customizable in a sense of knowing the number of floors you have, number of people you want in the office, and you might decide on one night to the other to change the number of employees you will allow in the office. That's the customization. What is beautiful about all of this is that these apps are being improved month on month. So the first version came out in July. Now we're in November. We're on version 3 of this app development based on the feedback we're getting from customers.
And I have 2 questions here. First, the cost, of course, is it free? And can you build up on this app as well to customize yourself? Because you say you're version 3, but can I create a version 4?
Absolutely. So here, the apps themselves and all the work and the IP behind developing these apps and solving for things like floors and areas and information is being provided free because it's the one that Microsoft's building for itself and improving for itself. What is not free is the number of users, how many users you have in your office, how many executive leaders you want the Power BI dashboard to be served to. That part is not free. To your second question, regarding customizations, you have customizations in the app, which is all around things around the number of floors, number of areas you want to include, the type of questions you want employees to answer, whether you want to add a guidebook or not. There's another more complex set of customizations, which is things like getting people's temperatures registered as they walk into the building, such as contact tracing inside the office to make sure that people are far away from each other, and getting heat maps of areas in the kitchen, if too many people are in the kitchen or not, and deciding whether you want to alert them live with a beep, with IoT, cool. or to be alerted as a facility manager on what's going on in all your facilities. And moving into the next section, Arnaud is going to do a presentation of a demo that will help us understand that a bit more deeply.
Let's have a look. Thank you.
I will show you the return to work application, return to work solution, and I will describe you as a facility manager how I can reopen my different facilities safely. So what we see here is a Power BI dashboard that gives you a lot of information on the global COVID situation in the region that you are managing. I can see also the description of my facilities and in which phases they are. So we can see here, for instance, that for the region EMEA, I have 41 facilities. I can see the reproductive number, and then phase by phase, the number of steps that I need to follow in order to reopen those facilities. So for instance, if I reopen, I can see here in my region the number of cases per day and the trend. So here you can see that the global number of cases is decreasing, and I can have the details region per region. If I look at the Ireland, I know that the virus there is having a reproduction rate and a number of cases that is decreasing. So I can use that report to understand the global situation and get the right insight to reopen specifically my facilities. So now I will move to what we call the Facility Management App, which is a PowerApp to allow facility manager to reopen their facilities. In this Facility Management App, I can do a lot of different things. So I can see the list of my facilities, I can group my facilities per region, I can define the different type, and also I can access to the different information of my employees, like the attestation that they filled in, I can see their sentiment, and I can access to their booking when they book a day pass, and I can also see the guest registration that are coming with my employees. So in our example, we will reopen the Dublin, one of the Dublin office. I have a process in front of me which is indicating in which phase my facility is. So I have started as close, of course, and then I progress from the planning phase to the scaling up phase. I can choose when I open my building how many desks I will reopen per area to my employees. In the return to work solution, we also have a PowerApp that is made for the employee in order for them to ask for a day pass to enter to a building. The employee will use his mobile phone and open his PowerApp to fill in the form. Let me show you that in detail. So I open my PowerApp. Then I request a day pass. Get a day pass. I search for my building in Dublin, here. So I can see that the building is available as is in phase 4. So I click on book a space. And I can search for the floor where I want to work and in which area. So let me choose this one. Okay, I click next. I accept the daily check. And then I agree that I have no fever and no symptom. I agree here. And finally, my day pass is generated. Let's see how it works when the next day the employee walks to the building.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Can you show me your day pass, please?
Sure.
All right, let me scan it. Hey, hello, Mr. Lacroix. Thank you very much. You can access the premises.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
You too.
So yeah, I have a question about that because we just saw the return to work application and say that my customer tomorrow wants to have it. How does it work? How we are trained? How long does it take? I guess it depends also of how big is the company, but let me know a bit how it works.
Yeah, let's say so. The first prerequisite, of course, is to have an access to Power Platform. So that is pretty easy. You have a subscription to have, and if you are already a customer of Microsoft using Office 365, for example, or another product, then it's very easy because even from a security point of view, all the infrastructure should be ready. I mean, you have an Active Directory, and all users could be connected easily. Then you have to download the templates from Microsoft, so the return to work. So as you said, Marie-Philippe, depending on the size of the company, of course, and also the constraint of the company, you can use the template as it is, and you can also modify it. So let's say you can use it in a really a question of days, if it's a question of, okay, you keep it as it is and you deploy it, or if you have some customization or configuration to do because you have a specific company. We have some cases with companies very big, thousands of employees, and then they have to manage policies around the world and time zones. Then it takes a little bit of time. Basically, for those big projects, then you can have a partner helping you, so helping you to configure, helping you to manage also the user adoption, because when you will also deploy, and I think you know very well this question, Marie-Philippe, you can also manage the user adoption. So basically it could be a question of days or several weeks if you have a big project, big enterprise. But if you compare with starting from scratch with a custom applications or with something else, then it's months is probably.
Yeah, let me show you as well how you can find where to learn Power Apps. So here I'm in my browser on my machine, and I just typed "Learn Microsoft" on Bing. Of course, it works somewhere else. And then you will find a link to learn.microsoft.com. There you can explore, and you will find for all the Microsoft products very well done documentation. Like for instance, you will find everything about Azure, Dynamics, Microsoft 365, and here the Power Platform. So if I go to Power Platform, I see that I can learn how to build apps and everything. And also always think about YouTube, because on YouTube you have a Power App channel, and there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube. You can really start learning. And there is this trial that you can run with a professional email. And if it's a problem for you not to have a professional email, don't forget that you can create that just with a non-standard like email. As long as it's not at Hotmail, at Gmail, it will work. Okay. So I encourage you to try.
Thank you, Raphael. The other thing that is very interesting, as you mentioned, in terms of training, is it could be very easy for your own team in the company then to manage and to take care of this Power Platform for the return to work. It will be very easy to modify later a field or a part of the processes, and then you can maintain it also alone.
I think that's all. We just play a last video. This is about how this app that was to scan the barcode has been made. So Arnaud goes through the whole creation process.
As you can see my screen here, I am in a Power App Maker. So this is where I create a Power App. I can add my barcode scanner component. You can see here, I can specify different properties. I can add my label to specify the employee name, employee first name. As you can see, this is really simple. It's just drag and drop here, and you can specify the properties on your right, describing the text, describing the font, the style, like a normal editor. It's really user-friendly and easy to manage. So I can also add where the data is going to be displayed coming from the database. So I'm adding those fields here. Another one for the last name, and the last one for the authorization coming from the system. Then I can, of course, change the style, and I can also add a technical field here, which will contain the scan ID that will help me to in the database to recognize which employee is associated to the barcode that I will scan. Then, of course, as for any editor like this, I can add some image. So I will add my the logo of my company. Let me replace that here first, and add an image. So I can choose the Microsoft logo here. All right. Let me resize a little bit, and then I will just reorder that a little bit, make it a little bit larger, and then I will be able to let me just change the barcode text, ensuring that when I scan, I associate the ID to the technical field, and I change the text of my barcode scanner, and I will add an action. So here I can associate the click on the scan to a Power Automate flow, allowing to make an automation on the background to find the customer and get his data from the database. So I will show you how the flow is. So let me just enter the parameter, and we will have a look to the flow. Now I'm in Power Automate. I will edit my flow. So let me show you. Here I have all the steps that my flow will pass through. I can start from PowerApps, and then I can get a record and get the employee attestation, and I will check that the identifier is the same that has been scanned, and then I will get the employee contacts in order to recover the full name and last name, and then pass through the PowerApp. And now my app is created.
Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you liked this last pre-recorded video. Tell us about what you think about the format, what we could improve, and if you would like to see a real live event once we are out of this COVID wave, where we gather together and have a nice cappuccino with a real barista. Please let us know, write the feedback in the chat, and now we will start answering the questions. Thank you.
Can you explain the Power Platform licensing? Yes. So the Power Platform licensing is a combination of several things. So we have Power Apps. So that is the application that our colleague just showed you. So there is a license. So you can license it per app. So you will have the right to use 2 applications. So that the public price list is around $10 per month per user, and you can also enjoy this this project to do like an enterprise project. Means that you will use the platform globally for several applications. Then we have a user right per user, and you are not limited in terms of applications for each user. In this case of Return to Work, so one time you have Power Apps, you will use the template of Return to Work that is provided for free by Microsoft in this case. So you will not pay Microsoft for using Return to Work. And depending on your architecture, you will be connected to your database. It could be a SQL database with what we call the Premier Connector, or you will be able also to use the Common Data Model from Microsoft. That is a structured database, including also user rights and security.
And also, please reach out to us on LinkedIn to ask more details about it, because there are several ways of obtaining advantages for Power Apps. Like, for instance, Power Apps can be seeded through Teams. So if you already have Teams, maybe there is a way to obtain a better pricing to help your users build something in Teams on Power Apps. So it's a bit tricky. We can't answer it like here right now. And there is also ways of using Power Apps with Office. So if you have Office 365, or even better, if you have Dynamics, then you have the full capability. So please reach out. We are happy to take this conversation with you.
Excellent. So let's continue with Hugo. Hugo also has the question, I think you answered a bit in the video. One of the challenges when deploying a low-code platform is to find the right balance between business agility and control, and then the compliance and IT. So what would you be your advices to manage this challenge?
Yeah, for me, thank you, Hugo, for the question. For me, it's like the other projects. I mean, the benefits with Power Apps, if you have different levels of users. So you can be just your own users for your own Power Apps, so that you can deploy on your PC and you can use it for yourself. So you are pretty free to use it, because it will not be deployed on your company. So of course you have your rules of compliance, you use the data you can access only, that should be managed by your company. But there is no risk, if I may, because you use it for yourself. It's like your Excel spreadsheet or your PowerPoint application, and then it's just to facilitate your life. You want an application and you create it. If you want to deploy then the application inside the company, then it's another story. It's like the situation we had with SharePoint before. There is a governance to have. There is two phases. First, in the project, you need to manage the project to stay out of the box and using as much as possible only what the product is proposing, without any code specifications or things that could be complex. Secondly, you need to implement an application lifecycle management to manage the compliance into the company. And for that, we are providing a center of excellence with some tools provided by Microsoft that will help you to manage who did an application, who is using it, and to manage, for example, who is the owner. This owner is leaving the company, who will manage the application later. So we have a complete, by the way, white paper on this topic that we will provide you in the resources when we will release this video.
Yeah, I think it's what I like about the Power App is that it's really the think global, act local. So you can use it locally for you really quickly, and you're really agile, and then you don't have this IT issue, etc. Or if you want to integrate it globally, then like you mentioned, you have to look it over or completely over. Another one, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, just one thing about this. So I just want to show you two things. I've put a first link in the chat. This is about the page where you find all like the exhaustive list of the governance considerations to have when you want to put in place Power Apps, because you want to avoid this shadow IT, and you will be able, instead of having data that is scattered on different hard drives on the desktop of people and everything, you will be able to link all this to one customer. And this is crucial for GDPR compliance, for instance, because you need all this data to link to a customer so that you can delete it when there is a request, or you can modify it accordingly to GDPR. And the other link is this Power App Center of Excellence Starter Kit. This is something you can install on your existing environment so that you can follow those steps and better master the life cycle of your Power Apps. With this, I go back to the other presenter.
So now we have a question of Fred, and I believe the answer is yes. Let's see. With this health crisis, we must restrict the use of our workplaces to keep the recommended distance. Is it possible to have a map of all our workplaces and to be able to reserve place by place? Can we do that?
Mm-hmm. So indeed, yes, this is possible. You decide what floors you open, what building, depending on the metrics that you have seen, and you can decide how many desks you open. If you work with a partner, because as you know, Microsoft works with partners. So if you work with a partner on Power Apps, they can also build something like with IoT, so you could know where the people are located currently, if there is a red zone, if there is a like need to show a red light at the entrance, so that okay, there is too many people in the cafeteria. That's something you can definitely do, and it's not an extreme development. It's something that can be made.
Excellent. So I have a question for Kavita from Kavita, and this is actually a question that we often have. I often have with my clients is how do we handle large data set in Power Apps?
Yeah, so large data sets are always an interesting question. So you know that when you load data, there is paging. And indeed, in Power Apps, if you want to load a million elements, it's not made for that. It's not thought like this. So what you would do is segmentation. Okay, you have to think about why do I need all this data? And you can use the search capability instead. So you would have a field where you input like the search terms, and you would make sure that you return something that is lower than this data set. And also, of course, Power Apps is a product that sees a lot of innovation, a lot of development. So there hasn't been 1 month without innovation and without improvement. So that's definitely something that you will see grow in the future and be more and more powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. If I may, you say like growing and growing and be innovation. It was written in the studies that actually right now a third of developers are using low code, no code, and at the end of the COVID, half of the developer will do. So it's thanks to Microsoft with the innovation side, yeah. Alors, so a bit more technical still. Mark, we're saying, what are the options, recommended way to integrate the Power App development with the CI/CD pipeline?
So that's actually a very good question, and there is a very good answer. So that's the kind of question I like. The recommended way to go is Azure DevOps, and you will find on YouTube, you can type Azure DevOps Power Apps. You will see how it can be implemented. If you're familiar with the model app development, I don't want to go too much into details, but you have this concept of a solution. A solution is like an index of all the resources that you find in your CDS instance, in your CDS environment, and you can use a solution to export all this customization and to put it automatically into this Azure DevOps pipeline. And this is how you have versioning. This is how you can ensure that you have a proper life cycle in Power Apps. And again, that's something that didn't exist a few years ago. So if people tell you it doesn't exist, dig a bit, because maybe it's so new that people are not aware.
Okay. All right, so we continue with Akhilesh. Thanks, Akhilesh, for all your questions. Canva app, model-driven apps as part of return to the workplace solution, which will be used by global audience. Would you recommend creating different environment based on the region?
Yeah, so I would never go for different environments. And so as to whether you should go for model-driven or a Canvas app, I would say it's a no-brainer for me, surprisingly. I always go for model-driven for the backend. Okay, you have those people that will work a lot with the data, that are in charge of a large data set. For them, you want to give them a fully featured interface where they can sort, they can make their view, they can add their Power BI report and have this very structured way vision of the data. So you do your model-driven, that is powerful for those advanced users that will use it more often than the others. And then you do a Canvas app, which is the one that is designed pixel perfect and in which you can restrict the interface for those users that use it only one time. Okay, so that's why in the return to work application that we have seen before, we have seen first a model-driven one, which is the fully featured app with many menus. And this one was used by the facility manager. But the employee that was scanning the QR code and preparing his form was using a Canvas app, because this is kind of the easy interface for everybody.
Okay, and then Akhilesh continue the questions with in case of a user manager and employee is in South Africa, but I think you partially answered already, and the environment data region is in EU. How will it perform? Does the solution require special adjustment?
No, so yeah, actually, that's another question. That's a question about latency. So, can I have an environment in one continent and a client in another continent? So, usually, what I recommend, to be fair, is to have one environment per continent. This is usually a good way to ensure you have a good latency. If you can't or you don't want because you don't have so many users, it will work. But you have to think about the latency. If you have, I don't know, I'm just giving numbers on top of my head here, but if you have something like 150 milliseconds, users will not really see the problem. Okay, if it's you don't have a jitter on top of that, but let's not be too technical. Sorry. So it means in one continent, no problem. If you try to connect from, let's say, China to an instance that is deployed in Europe and you have firewalls in between, so it means that the latency can go up to 250, maybe 300, maybe 500 milliseconds, and there you have a degraded user experience. It should still work, but it will be slow for the user. So depending on the use case, think about one instance per continent. Okay, and thank you thank you, Stefan, for saying that the format was interesting. So happy that you liked it. Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you, Marie-Philippe, and see you soon.
Thank you all for being here.
Okay, bye bye.